Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. Nothing too exciting this time out, just some more publishing information. One of them is just kind of like, what are you doing? But I don't really care. And then the other one is like, I'll believe it when I see it. But we'll start with this. So in relation to the Avatar screen comics, which have seen the Volume 1, which I've reviewed on my channel, and the Volume 2 release, this is actually, the Volume 2 is actually a fairly recent release, only back in September. We seem to have what is kind of the next in the series, or at least a related style of book. It is not Volume 3, in that it is not the next stage of the story, because even though I haven't really seen the details on this, we pretty much know it only goes up about as far as, you know, the Blue Spirit. So they're only just a bit past the halfway point in book 1 after the first 2 volumes, meaning they need at least a volume 3 to complete book 1. This has been announced here, and it's covering book 2 material. So this is Zuko finds his way, brackets Avatar The Last Airbender, by Random House. So the publisher's correct. It's a paperback, May 3rd 2022, middle grade, that all fits. An action-packed retelling of Zuko's journey back to his uncle Iroh in Avatar The Last Airbender, with full color scenes and dialogue from the television series. Again, that's the exact description for the other books, as in screenshots plus comic dialogue. That's exactly what it is. That's a screen comic, even though they're not saying it is. After his continued failure to capture the Avatar, a disgraced and disgruntled Zuko decides to part ways with his uncle and mentor Iroh and venture out on his own. But as he wanders, he discovers parts of himself long buried and learns what is truly important in life. Follow Zuko's journey in this 80-page full-color retelling, featuring final frames and dialogue from the series. Again, screen comics, perfect for fans. 80 pages. The dimensions of the book are a little bit different. Obviously, it's going to be thinner, but it's also just different full stop. 6x9, whereas these books are 5.25 by 8. So even if you're maybe considering this a volume 4 or 5 or something, it doesn't immediately seem to super match. So I don't know if I'd go as far as to say they've just stopped with these, like, these aren't doing so well, let's stop and just do these ones. Like, if we do a book just about Zuko and Iroh, it'll sell. I don't know. But it's a very specific part of book 2, which I guess is just going to cover that sort of, you know, Zuko alone time period right up until they're kind of reunited at the chase. So, you know, it's only a handful of episodes that this kind of book 2 section of like Zuko finding his way back is actually covered, unless they're more talking about just, you know, the overall arc of Zuko. But I don't know how you're going to do that as such. So this would seem like it's going to cover like, what, 2 episodes, and that's it, which I think is silly and just another way to sell a lot of books. But they also seem to have skipped over the whole first part of book 2. So I have no clue what's going on here. But I also think that these books are not something that interests people. I reviewed the first one just to show you guys what it was like, and I really wasn't impressed, to the point where I didn't order volume 2, and this right now has no interest for me either. So just to let you guys know that this book exists and is a 2022 release, but I don't like the seeming switch in format, because it's going to be so weird if they do decide to do volume 3 to finish off book 1, or potentially volume 3 and 4, and then you get around to book 2, which would, I guess, be volume 4 or 5, which would also have to eventually get up to the stuff, I guess, with the second volume of book 2 Earth, which is covered in this. You know, your Zuko Alones, your Chase, those episodes in or around that sort of second quarter of the book time period. And if they're basically reprinting, I don't know about that with just screenshots. The other piece of news is this: Beasts of the Four Nations finally has another release date. So before this, the last couple of weeks and months, this book has been indefinitely postponed. You've probably seen a lot of websites just either don't have the listing, are saying that it's like out of stock, out of print, and just have had the old date. The old date was February 2022. This is now July 6th, 2022. So a 5-month delay, 4 and a bit month delay. Pretty hefty, but obviously not as bad as it going as far as to be indefinitely postponed and still not be on websites that list most books like Edelweiss anymore. So this Previews World listing, which again is where we first learned about this book, is the only place that has this new date that I could see. So I don't know if this is just ahead of the game once again and it's just a placeholder date, or if this is actually the new date. That's where we have to get into some speculation about, okay, does it make sense? Well, February for the book 3 art book second edition. The book 4 art book second edition hasn't been announced yet, but we expect that 4 or 5 months after the previous one. So unless they're just making the decision that this book is coming first, the book 4 art book will come after, or they're going to do what they sort of had planned with the previous date for Beast of the Four Nations, which was that within like a week or two of each other, we would have gotten the book 3 art book second edition and Beast of the Four Nations. That's the way it was back when it still had its February date. My guess is that maybe now we'll see in the next couple of days the book 4 second edition get officially announced with a date that is in or around July, August, maybe even June. And so this book will be relatively close to the other one, because this is the 6th of 6 books in the deluxe set. I can't see them releasing it ahead of time as like the 5th book to be released, because I think it would be silly if the part of the spine image is actually at position 5, but I also think it would be silly for them to release the final part of the spine before the 5th part of the spine. So I don't know. They need to announce the other books that they clearly are holding on to. I don't know what the situation is, but I don't even know if this is a good sign. If this is telling that, have they finally figured it out, and now they can tell us about some of the 2022 lineup. Because, like I've been saying for a lot of videos recently, it's not looking so great at all. You just have your typical like omnibus, the chibi book, and then it's the Korra book 3 art book, and that's it. This coming back in more towards the middle of the year is like, okay, cool. It's a new book. It's actually probably the most exciting release currently on the schedule. But where are the other comics? Where is that Korra comic going to slot in, if that is indeed what they're going to announce? When is a new Avatar comic going to come out and also come out? And then there's all those other books like the Imbalance Omnibus, a collection for the Suki comics and stuff like that. When are those books also going to get announced? And then, like I've already said, book 4 art book second edition, that's the big one that needs to get announced with its new cover. So yeah, this should be sort of exciting, this book finally getting a new date. But it still remains in a weird state where Dark Horse have yet to acknowledge it. They've never posted on social media about this book existing. They've never put up a listing on their own website about it. Even though it's changed date like 5 times at this point, they have not talked about this book as if it has been officially announced. So it's been in this weird state where completely official, on like Amazon, all the publishing websites, everyone knows that this book exists. They have just not talked about it as if it is the case. Whereas they typically on social media with these books do mention like, this book was recently announced. Here's the article where it was announced. And they'll mention like, this book is now available for pre-order. And so on. They haven't done that yet, which gives me the impression that, especially on the Avatar side of things, they've been probably struggling behind the scenes on the exact placement of books, when they can fit things in, and with just publishing stuff on top of that, the problems due to COVID and just printing as well. Dates are probably hard to set, but this is a particularly sort of egregious example just because we have known about it for so long. So, I don't know. Does it mean that, like, in the coming weeks, this will be one of our big announcements, probably this book getting officially announced? I would hope that if it is, and there's news articles potentially about this, that it has like preview pages. I think there needs to be at least a preview page from the inside of this to show it off and just give you a glimpse into what the book is actually going to be from a visual and text perspective. How much information on the animals is there going to be? How much new art for the animals is there going to be? Just to see a better sense for, like, we get what it's going to be. Part art book, part encyclopedia, but more specifically, what exactly is it going to be like? So I think that's everything that there is to say here. We're still waiting on all those announcements. Very, very soon. Said a month ago. Again, please, work on that definition. How is very, very soon, very, very in capitals, how does that mean more than a month? I just don't get it. So yeah, we're just waiting on that. But yeah, in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are on this. How do you think this relates to the Volume 1 and Volume 2 Screen Comics? Is it just them changing the format because these ones maybe weren't working so well? Will they continue with these, or is this the new way that they're going to do the Zuko finds his way arc, the, Aang Avatar State arc, or something like that? Who knows? Katara searches for her mother, like, book. Is that what they're going to do here? Just do character books that cover like a few episodes? What do you think? And then with this, what do you make of this? Is this just Previews World with another placeholder date, kind of like it was before? Or will this book finally officially get announced? But that has been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.